Hello, how you guys doing? Hi, Nance. Thanks for jumping on here. Think what is it? We're a few minutes behind today. Glad you're here. Good afternoon. How are you? Good afternoon, everybody out there. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let's see. I don't know why this looks a little dark. Let me get some lighting over here. Okay, that looks a little bit better, I think. All right. Hey, Margie. How are you? All right, guys. So thank you for joining us today. Elaine Proby here, CEO PROBY'S Tax and Accounting. And this message today is going to really be, I don't know, an eye opener. It's enlightening. And a lot of people are all up in arms about this stuff. Hey, Lorna, how you doing? Taj Nash, thanks for jumping in. How are you? Good afternoon. How are you? Good afternoon, Miss Elaine. All right, so the message today, guys, is a bit enlightening to a lot of folks. People are all up in arms about this because it has to do with the IRS and your bank account, and everybody is going a little nuts about this message. Hi, Makiba Jackson. Good afternoon. How are you doing? How are you guys? Thanks for tuning in. Let me see. We've got everything on here on IG. I don't know why this one seems to always do something weird. Give me a second. Let me get this on. And I think it does this all the time. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing here or not. I think I got this, but let's see. We got to get our folks over here involved with this message because, they are excited to, I don't know, let's see. I don't know what I'm doing over here. Always seems to do. Everything is always all set. And I don't know what happened here, but I'm going to make sure that we get involved, get these people here involved. Okay, so let's see. Here we go. All right. Okay. So we got these folks over here on IG. They got to make use of this information. Good. So what we're going to talk about today, guys, is your bank account and the IRS and what you need to know. This subject here is very touchy. Hi, EP. Looking forward to this, to your lesson today. Thank you, Shiraz. Thank you so much. Karen, how are you? Thanks for jumping in. Good afternoon. So this, again, like I said, this is really scary to some people. But again, I will let you guys know, stick around towards the end, let you guys know that this is really not scary at all. Your bank account and the IRS. We're going to talk about the American Families Plan, which is the plan that put a lot of this stuff in place. And we'll talk about the business and the self-employed people who and how they report their taxes. And then we'll talk about an IRS audit, right? And what happens. And we'll talk about what they need, what they use for those audits. Okay, so we'll wrap this all up in one. It's not going to be that complicated. I'm going to make it quick and easy. All right, so let's start off with our number one point today, guys. The American Rescue Plan, which was what the president has signed into law this year, which for the most part, there's a lot involved in it, and it's very helpful for the American families. It's a lot to do with making sure that there is enough credits, the child tax credit, the earned income credit, making sure that there is monies that are put back in the American families' pockets to help with their, the kids. And it talked about a lot of the, like education, credit, healthcare, all the stuff. There's a lot in it that will help, most of the people that needs financial help, needs help with education, need help with healthcare and all this good stuff. So there's a lot in it for most of the American families. But at the same token, the president was concerned about the wealthiest of Americans who does not pay their fair share of taxes. And so by that, not paying their fair share of taxes, then it really hurts the rest of the people who are having to pay all these taxes and who are struggling to keep monies in their families and monies in their pocket. So within that American Rescue Bill, with all the help for the average American, with all the help for getting all these credits, and even as far as the meal programs, all that stuff is really great. But to allow the wealthiest of Americans to pay their fair share of taxes, so the president had also put into place this reporting system, right? And this is the one that gets everybody up in arms. So what the president is saying is that most of the businesses and the self-employed folks, they have all these different things going on and all these different ways of reporting their income. And what they're doing is they're not reporting all the income, so they're not paying their fair share of taxes. So there's not enough money in, for the government to function as it should. So what the president have put in place is the plan is to have the banks and financial institutions to report more of the activities that goes into these bank accounts. Now, this is why everybody's all up in arms about this. More activities that goes into your bank account. The president in this bill is requiring the banks and financial institutions to report these activities to the government, to the IRS. What happens is the IRS always have already been getting reports on the interest that you earn. They have always been getting reports on dividend that you earn. They get reports and all those things. And, like if you use credit card services, Square services, all that stuff, they get a form that tells them how much money you make through the Square, through the credit card services, and any other forms. So they're already getting this information, right? So now what they're required to do now is any other type of deposit, any other type of inflows into your bank account. So for these people who are doing major investments, any type of activity, they want the banks and financial institutions to report those activities to the IRS. So it's more reporting that the banks and the financial institution are required to do to the IRS in order for them to track all of the revenue, all of the income that most of the large businesses, self-employed folks, that they make, so that they can pay their fair share of their taxes. So they're thinking that about 20% of the revenue are underreported as it stands right now. So this is a problem. But 20% of revenues that most of these wealthiest of Americans make is underreported. So the government is not getting taxes on this money. So right now they're concerned about making sure that happens. So they're requiring the banks to then report all the activity, the balances of these accounts, transfers from one account to the next. So whatever goes in and whatever comes out, that's a whole lot. Now they're really actually seeing everything that you do, as opposed to just getting the interest, the dividends, and any other type of income reported on a 1099 that goes to the government anyway, right? So this is a lot more reporting that they'll get. So they're basically going to have just an eye view of everything that happens in your bank account, and all of them for that matter. So it's a big deal. Everybody's up in arms about it. The banks are not really excited about doing this because it's more, responsibility. And so, it's just really a massive undertaking. And so they're not excited about it. And of course, the people who it will affect the most, who's at the top, who's making all these monies that is not reporting everything, they are very much up in arms about it. So this is really huge. All right. Okay. So that's number one point today, guys. What's happening in the American Rescue Plan? Like I said, is a two-part deal. Most of the Americans are being helped with a lot of stuff, with healthcare again, with education, with food and credits, childcare, earned income credit, all that stuff, so that money can remain, the economy can remain on par, and people can survive. But then again, they have to get the taxes from the people who are not paying their share of the taxes, right, to balance that out. So this is what's happening. So that's the first plan today, right? So point number two, Margie. So what is this? So it's not so easy to hide income, right? It's not so easy to hide income. They're going to get it anyway. And most of the people are reporting it anyhow on 1099s. That's getting reported. The government has this information. It's already there. All right. So point number two, how you guys over here on IG? Thanks for joining in. Okay. So point number two, guys, the business and the self-employed folks, right? You are accountable for the revenues that you make. You have to keep track of everything you make, and you have to file your taxes based on the money that you make, right? So most people that are working wage earners, their salary and their wages, taxes are taken out as they earn that money. It's sent to the IRS. So if you are getting a paycheck, your taxes are already taken out when you get your paycheck, right? If you're a self-employed, of course, a business owner, you do not have any taxes taken out anywhere. So you report what you make, you deduct all your expenses, of course, and then you pay your fair share of taxes. This is what they're concerned about because, again, there's about 55% of the folks who are self-employed and who own businesses that are not reporting their wages, their revenue as they should. So again, back to the people who are self-employed and back to the business owners. And most of the time they're thinking the wealthiest of Americans have more businesses, and these guys have so many different ways of, putting money in different places, and the government is really concerned about this. Okay, so as a business owner and a self-employed person, you generally will report the income that you make, because you will go to the bank and see how much money you make. You will track everything that comes in, and you will file your taxes accordingly. Okay, so with that said, the IRS is expecting you to report what you make, but they are thinking and they're saying that about 20% of the people underreport their wages, their revenue, and therefore they need to do something about narrowing that gap. So if they put this point in place with the banks and financial institutions to report everything, send bank balances, bank statement, and know everything that goes in and out, they put that in place, then it will close up that gap so much further, and they will essentially be able to get more tax dollars, right? This is what they're looking for. So the point number 2, business owner, self-employed, keep track of your income and make sure that you're not underreporting anything, because of course they'll know it, because the bank will be providing, if this all falls in place, the bank will be providing that information anyway. So you want to be able to do it yourself to make sure that you don't have any underreporting, because if that is the case, then there will be an adjustment, you'll owe more taxes, and those penalties are going to even be more than they would be, in the first place. Okay, so make sure that you report everything correctly. All right, Margie, so it's not so easy, right? Okay, so we talked about that. So that's the second point, guys. So today, again, for those of you who just joined us up here, we're talking about the bank account and the IRS. Again, a big topic. Everyone is up in arms because now that the IRS is going to have access to your bank information, and they'll get a report from your bank about everything that goes in if this all goes through. Now, third point today, guys. And so, and this is the best part of this whole thing. The IRS, if there is an audit, okay? If there's an audit, the first thing they will ask you as a business and self-employed person, they will ask you for your bank statements. Okay, so they're going to get the bank statement anyway. They will get the bank statement, and they will go through your bank statement, and they will see what goes into the bank account. So if you did those taxes and you did report all the income that you make, and they go to the bank and they get those statements, they'll ask you for them, of course. If you don't provide them, they'll summons the statement from the bank. They'll get them anyway. So once they get those bank statements, guys, they'll go through those deposits, and they will compare the deposit with the amount of money you put on those taxes to make sure that you have reported everything. So this whole idea of the bank is reporting everything that I do to the IRS on my bank statements, if you're audited, they'll see it anyway. They'll get a copy of those bank statements. If you don't give it to them, they'll get it from the bank. They'll summons the bank, get those bank statements, and they will see everything that goes in, everything that comes out. And the first thing they do is they compare the income on those taxes to the income that goes into the bank to make sure that you have reported everything. So either way, they'll get that information. The only difference is that happens if there's an audit. And I guess the whole thing for them is they're thinking, well, of course, they can't audit everybody. So we have to trust that people are going to report what they make. And by the bank reporting this information and narrowing that gap between what the IRS knows, what goes into the bank, they are just saying and assuming that you are going to report everything that you make, because the bank will send it to the IRS anyway. Okay, so that's what's happening here. So guys, very important. This, again, like I said, is just really, really huge. A lot of people is up in arms about it. The bank's not excited because they have to, of course, do a lot more tracking, and it's a massive undertaking for them. So they're not excited about this. All right, so that is what the topic is today. I'm going to recap this. Therese Ford says, I understand the reason why they want, you understand the reason why they want this information. Okay, so yes. Because, of course, again, it all based on, normally when you're self-employed, in good faith, you say how much money you make, right? In good faith, they say how much money you make. But it has to tie in with what goes to the bank. I still don't like it. Most people don't like it. They don't like it. If they request your bank statement, you want to provide it. But then to have the bank just having to send this all to the government to report everything that happens, most people just don't like that idea, right? I totally agree with you. Most people don't like that idea. So let's just recap what we talked about today, guys. Your bank account and the IRS, what you need to know. Big topic. It's all over the place. Everybody's unhappy about this. First one had to do with the American Rescue Family Plan. That's what put this whole thing in place, right? The president signed this into law. Half of this plan is to help the ordinary American people with money in their pocket, giving them child tax credit, earned income credit, help with the food plans, meal programs, increase that stuff. They're increasing all this stuff, right? They're going to make sure that education is affordable, healthcare is affordable, all the stuff, really, really, really great stuff to really help the average American folks. But in this plan, the president is concerned about the wealthiest of Americans that's not paying their fair share of taxes. A lot of folks is underreporting their taxes, and so their revenue, and so they're paying a lot less taxes. And they're claiming that about $700 billion more in taxes they'll be able to get over the next 10 years if they put this plan in place and force people to really report their revenue. And of course, they're going to take some of that money, invested in the IRS structure, and so these folks have more ammunition to go out and make sure that people are paying their taxes. This is what's happening. All right, so that's the first point. Second point, business self-employed. You're responsible to make sure you keep track of your income. You have to do your accounting, of course. We keep talking about accounting. You have to know what you make, you have to know what you spend, and you have to report what you make, right? But besides what you have reported, the government, the IRS, will have copies of the activity in your bank account. So they want to make sure that what you report is what went through the bank. Everything that you reported is what went through the bank. And they want to make sure that that's what you're doing. So keep people on point. So if the bank is sending us off, everybody's more apt to report the correct amount of stuff. They said 20% of the people are underreporting income. Not a good idea, but they want to close that gap up, right? Second point. Third, the IRS audit. If they audit you, self-employed business folks, first thing they will ask you for is those bank statements. The first thing they do in an audit, they verify income. They'll get those bank statements from you or from the bank if you don't give it to them. They'll verify the monies that went through your bank account. They'll see how much money you put on your tax return. They'll compare that stuff. If you underreport, they're going to charge you all kinds of penalties, right? All kinds of penalties if you want to report your income. It's not a good idea because this can get really, really ugly depending on what that looks like. So you want to try to be able to make sure that you keep that in line with what you make, okay? So that's the third point today, guys. With that said, you guys, if you have any questions on this stuff, I'm telling you, it's really, a lot of people is just not excited about this whole idea, but it's happening. And I think they've made some adjustment. The banks are not excited. There's some adjustment being made on it. But the end result is that you must be careful of how you report your income, guys. If you're self-employed and you own a business, money that goes into the bank, just keep in mind that a lot of the stuff is already being reported. A lot of credit card transactions, Square transactions, all the stuff, dividends, all the stuff is interest. All the stuff is already being reported to the IRS. There's forms that goes to them on a regular basis. So annual basis, they are already getting that stuff being reported to them. All right, all those 1099s goes to them anyway. However, with reporting all these transactions from the bank, everything that goes in and everything that goes out transfers from one account to the next. They'll be able to see this, right? Transfers from one account to the next. They'll be able to see this if this all goes through. All right, so people are not happy about this, and I can see why. I'm sure that no one wants the idea that their whole bank information, everything they do is going to the government. I mean, that's a lot. Okay, so that's the second point. And the third point, if there's an audit, now they can't audit everybody. So they're concerned about if they narrow this gap, they can't audit everybody. But if there's an audit, they get these bank statements anyway. If you don't give it to them, they'll summons it from the bank. The bank is forced to give it to them because they got to live by those summons. So if there's an audit, first thing they go to is your bank. Whatever monies that went through the bank, you got to answer to. So if it's not revenue, of course, you can have money goes into your bank account that may be a loan. Somebody may have given it to you. It could be, things that are not taxable income. Especially if you borrow some money. Again, it's not taxable income. There's a lot of stuff that's not taxable income, you guys. Same way like with those stimulus checks, they weren't taxable, but I went into the bank. So there's a lot of other monies that goes to the bank that are not taxable income. However, they'll be able to decipher what is taxable and what is not. But once they have the bank information, they'll know everything that goes in, everything that comes out, what's taxable and what's not. So we'll see how this fare off, what the end result of this is going to be. Again, the banks are not excited about it. People are not excited about it. Everybody's up in arms. The whole idea here, guys, though, is that the president is trying to make sure the wealthiest of Americans pay their fair share of taxes. And they feel like they've got so much going on, all this activity going on, and a lot of it is not being reported on their tax returns, right? Now, they're thinking that anyone that makes less than $400,000, they don't have an issue with. But the thing about it is, once this is in place, it goes for everybody, right? It goes for everybody. All right, so that's it today for me on this point. You guys put your questions or concerns below. Let me see what you guys think about this. It'd be great to find out what you guys think about this whole concept. How you guys doing over here at IG? Hey, thanks for tuning in. It'd be exciting to hear what you guys think about it. Let me know how you feel about the banks having to report all of your banking information and activity to the IRS. I want to hear what you guys think about this, okay? How you feel about this. So you got to put that in the comments below, and you guys keep your notification on. We here every Tuesday and Thursday. And again, this Thursday, what we're going to talk about on a personal sense, what we're going to talk about is on the personal level is if you didn't get your taxes filed, we want to tell you what you should do next. So don't worry. We'll tell you what you should do next if you didn't get your taxes filed by the deadline, which was October 15th, the deadline of the extension. So we'll talk about that on Thursday afternoon. You guys tune back in here at 1 p.m. Let's see. Thursday, October the 29th. Wow, October is almost just out of here. Okay, if you didn't get your taxes filed, we'll talk about that on Thursday. So I would like to see you guys back here Thursday. Hit like and share on this video. Get your friends involved. Let me know what you think about the IRS and your bank statements. It will cut down on fraud. Yep, Makiva, you absolutely right. And see, that's the thing, because they know the people, the wealthiest of Americans, the people who are doing a whole lot, they understand what's happening. They don't see all that income and they're not getting their taxes. So, for most of us, it's really not a big deal. I mean, what goes in, what comes out is very easy to see as far as our bank account is concerned. However, they know who they're targeting, the wealthiest of Americans. There's a lot going on there that they don't see and a lot of concerns. And like I said, 20% of they think that people are underreported. They've got so much ways of creating income and, making sure that they don't pay taxes on some of this stuff. So that's the problem. All right. So that's a good point. You're right. Just going to cut down on fraud, and that's what they want. So you guys, I'll be back here on Thursday afternoon at 1 p.m. Hit like and share on this and on this video. Get all your friends on board. Let me know what y'all think about this whole process about the IRS getting your bank statements. And, they already have your bank account. And I can tell all my clients they can get it when they want to. If there's an audit, they get it anyway. But now the bank has to send it to them. That's a lot. They're not excited about doing this, but there is a reason behind this whole thing, right? We know what that is. All right, with that said, guys, I will get up out of here. I will see you guys back here Thursday. I want you guys to have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. And you guys take care of each other and take care of yourself. I'll see y'all later.